Hi everyone, it's Stephanie here with this week's episode of MFTv. This week we're going to be doing some monochromatic stamping. So an FYI, before we start the video, you're going to see a lot of pink in this video. We're going to be using the Razzleberry cardstock, and then we're also going to be using the Razzleberry ink and the ripe raspberry ink. I'm going to be using both of those. These are both the premium dye inks that I'm using, and they are pretty similar in color, but the Razzleberry is kind of one is a little bit lighter, one's a little bit darker. So you can kind of see the variation definitely on the finished stamp design, and it just adds a little bit more detail and emphasis to the design since we are doing completely monochromatic and it's, a lot of pink. So it just helps to break up the pink a little bit and just kind of gives you different variations of it. And I think it really adds to the overall look of the card. So I'm using the Modern Bloom stamp set. This is a really great floral stamp set. It has a lot of solid images, so it works really great with the dye inks because they stamp so great with solid images. And it has a lot of different sizes and a lot of different designs of flowers as well as flower centers, and there's also leaves included in this. So I really like the different variations I'm able to get by stamping all of these little flowers. And I'm actually even stamping the leaf in pink too, just because we are doing monochromatic. So even though leaves are generally not pink, they're going to be on this card today. So I just started at the bottom right hand corner and I stamped the large flower first, and then I'm just kind of stamping different flowers as I go up, and I'm kind of going up towards the top left corner, and this just allows me to be able to fill up the space and not end up with really awkward spaces that I don't really have anything that will fit in them. This helps to kind of keep everything go perfectly together and helps you space everything evenly, even though you're using all completely different sized images in the stamping. So I just have all of my little flowers and my leaves that I'm using for the design on different blocks so that I can just continually stamp and add and fill in the area. I think I'm using about 5 different patterns of these flowers and then just the one leaf. And I'm just kind of going around and adding the flowers, and I'm keeping the leaves kind of concentrated on the outside edge just because I kind of want them to come in off of the edge, and I don't want them to kind of look like they don't belong, and they would look kind of funny if they're in the middle and the bottom of the stem is just kind of sitting there. So I like the look better to have them coming off the side and have the flowers filling the center area. So you can see here I just kind of kept going and filling in the area. And then for any of the little small areas that I don't have any flowers or leaves that will fit into, I just use one of the circles. It's like a little dot. I think it's meant to be one of the flower centers, but I just use it to fill in the area and kind of add a little bit more to the design rather than just the flowers and the leaves. Now, we are doing monochromatic, but I did want to add a little bit of white to this design. I just thought it would add a little bit of something since it is, a lot of pink. So I'm just using the white pigment ink, and I'm taking some of the accent stamps. I have the little leaves accents that go on top of the solid leaves. Then I have some of the multi-dot centers that go in the flowers. And I'm just using this white pigment ink, and I'm kind of going around and I'm stamping in the center area of all the flowers. And then, like I said, I also covered those leaves. And this is going to kind of dry back a little bit. It is pigment ink, so it stays pretty opaque, and that's kind of the look I was going for. I just want a little bit of the white. But you can see here now it's dry. It just adds a nice amount of detail to those flowers and just breaks up all the pink that we have going on in this panel. So I cut out the panel with a stitch rectangle die once I had all of the stamping done. I'm heat set that white ink first. Just make sure if you're using white pigment ink that you let it dry for quite a while, or you heat set it. It just takes a little bit longer since it is pigment. And then I'm just adhering that stitch rectangle piece to a grout gray card base. And then I just trimmed down the side of the card base so that I had an even margin on all 4 sides of the panel. And now I'm going to work on my sentiment. Now I don't want to do a crazy sentiment that's going to kind of fill up the whole card. I really want the emphasis to be on the background stamping since we took all the time to do that stamping, and I really like how it turned out. So I'm going to just do a simple hello sentiment using this hello die. And I cut it twice. I cut it once out of white cardstock, and then I also cut it out of silver sparkle cardstock. And I'm just kind of layering them on top of one another. I put some glue pen on the back of the sparkle one, and I'm just kind of offsetting it a tiny bit so that I have a little bit of a white shadow underneath of that glitter word. And then I'm adding adhesive to the back of the entire thing, and I'm going to adhere this onto this little vellum fishtail banner that I've die cut, and this is just going to help me kind of mute the background behind the vellum panel so that when I put the hello die on, it doesn't get lost in the background. It just kind of helps it stand out a little bit since we are putting it on such a busy stamped background. So once I figured out where I wanted it to go, I adhered the hello directly to the vellum piece, and now I added some adhesive behind the hello once again, but on the vellum this time. And this is going to allow me to adhere this directly onto the card, and you're not going to see any of that adhesive because we have it hidden underneath the hello die. And then once I have that positioned on there, I'm going to just take a couple of clear sequins and I'm going to scatter them around the card front just to kind of put a little bit of dimension on there since it is completely flat pretty much in one layer. I thought this would just add a little bit more detail to the design. So I added all of the sequins and then I just filled the centers of each of them with silver stickles. It's just my favorite way to kind of finish them off and make them look complete. And then that's going to finish the card for today. And that's also going to bring us to last week's MFTv winner. Last week's winner was D Designs by Dragonfly, and that is also going to bring us to the giveaway for this week. So if you want to leave a comment down below, you will be eligible to win the prize for this week, which is the Modern Bloom stamp set that I used in this video, as well as the Razzleberry ink and a pack of Razzleberry cardstock. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. We really appreciate you taking the time to watch our videos, and I will see you next week for a new episode of MFTv.